Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Gym Bros podcast. Okay, with myself, Josh. We've got Bryn.
Hi, guys.
We've got Paul as well.
Hello.
Tonight's episode, or to this evening, to this morning, whatever, we're going to be talking about something that's been all over the media, quite a bit, to be fair, and that is Russell Brand, and that is the witch hunt, I suppose, if you will. Now, sort of a disclaimer is that we're not here to discuss guilty or innocent. That's not what we're about. We're not taking away anything from victims or anything like that. We're simply just discussing how the media and the government are potentially going after a person.
I'm going to give our kind of observations on the situation that he's in, rather than like a judgmental view or whether we feel it's right or wrong.
We feel that it's sort of gone a bit guilty until proven innocent, whereas obviously it's not supposed to be like he's not really been given his say. He's been chastised and removed his monetary rights from his social media and stuff, so it's not really the best thing to have happened. But I suppose we all have our individual opinions. I know Bryn's got his, as always, and Paul's got his logical reasons. So yeah, guys, I'm going to open it up. What are our thoughts on the whole situation, on how the media and the government have got so heavily involved in something?
So, I don't know about anyone else, but I learnt about this roughly last week. It just randomly popped up in the news, as things do. I basically, what I took from it straight away is Russell Brand's been a very naughty boy, and there's allegations been made about him, and they are still allegations. Currently, as I know it, from the research I've done online, there's been no formal allegations made to the police, which is pretty much where it needs to be made, if it is an actual allegation.
He's not been charged with anything.
No, he's not been charged. There's been no complaints made to an actual police officer or the Met, etc. It's all been done by reporters. So, it's basically been pushed out there, I think, to sort of, judge what people think. I believe that the world at the moment is, especially people, that are getting charged with stuff, or, there's certain things that they've said or stuff like that. If anything needs to be said against them, it seems to be put out in the public eye and let's see what the public think. It ends up usually being a witch hunt, which, like you said at the start, a disclaimer, we're not here to say whether Russell Brand's innocent or guilty, because like everyone else in the world that seems to have an opinion, we don't know, they don't know. The only people that can know is the people that were involved. And then obviously the police, if it does get reported to the police, they obviously will do their best to find out the truth. And then obviously due course will take process. He'll obviously have his day in court, and then, we'll see from there whether he's guilty or not. But what I find scary is all the stuff that's being released about him, especially by the media. It seems to be very paper orientated. What I mean by that is the Telegraph, the Times, the Daily Mail, all the Channel 4, BBC, them two that I've just said definitely haven't got the best reputation in terms of protecting people. Wink, wink, Jimmy Savile. And there's still stuff coming on about him that has been proven that they did cover it up. So we're living in scary times where it seems like, regardless of what this man Russell Brand's done, hasn't had his day in court yet, let's just say that, it seems like everyone's already making their mind up off a couple of things that they've seen on the internet, potentially pushed out by all these broadcasters and all these news platforms, that basically what they say goes. How many times have you seen on the internet where things have been edited? We spoke about it before. People's pictures are edited to make it look the way they want. Clips are cut down, etc. To show a certain type of story. Reels are a massive thing. So, how many times have we seen Andrew Tate's stuff cut down and vilify him in a certain way and paint it picture in a certain way? And before you know it, you get the full clip. Everyone accesses that, and it tends to be, if you've got 100 people that see a certain reel, only 20 people will actually go away to see the full clip. Then they've got an opinion. Before you know it, everyone's full opinion is of that 10 seconds of reel instead of the actual full clip. And I think at the moment we're living in a scary world where it's a media court, not an actual law court. Because the problem is, you've got now innocent or guilty, that's not for us to say, you know, and whether we've got personal opinions, that doesn't matter, quite frankly. If there's victims, then they deserve for Russell Brand to get what he deserves, if it has been done. If he's completely innocent, you know, potentially they make claims against him of rape and sexual assault, etc. And potentially in some people's eyes, and you know, their views do matter because people talk all the time, you know, they're potentially going to think for the rest of their life, well, Russell Brand, yes, he's a comical guy, yes, he's got certain things, people like him or hate him, it doesn't matter. The point is, in their eyes, he'll always be a rapist because he's been accused of it. Now, how many times have you seen people, and it's so dumb, it's unreal, but, you know, if you say to someone, that person's been charged, male or female, that person's been charged, you know, someone like the generation 40, 50, 60-year-olds, they will think straight away, guilty. He's been charged. Yeah, but anyone can be charged with anything. Mm-hmm. There doesn't have to be proof there. It just means that the Crown Prosecution Service have looked at it and gone, right, there's enough for us to pursue this. It doesn't necessarily mean someone's innocent or guilty. It just means there's enough there for us to say, we'll take this to court. You know, so a panel have sat there and gone, we'll take this to court. But let's think back. None of that's even been presented yet. Four people have literally just come out and said their allegations. The reporters have obviously presented it, and then everyone's just gone, right, he's guilty, he's done this, he's done that. They've shown a couple of clips, you know, potentially there's other stuff there as well, and everyone's just made the verdict, that's it. Do you know what I mean? So I think we're living in scary times where people can just see a little bit of stuff, a little bit of evidence, wink, wink, and all of a sudden everyone's an expert on this guy. It's scary, very scary.
It's very easy for people to be manipulated via social media and via images they're put out. I saw something the other day it was just an example of how a picture can have one single picture can have two completely different meanings by the way that it's edited. And it was a picture of a sheepdog, well, a dog.
Yeah.
And the first picture you saw was the dog had hold of a sheep by its neck and was pulling it. That's the first, and then the headline with that was savage dog attacks cattle. Yeah. Then the next picture that expanded the image, and what it was is the sheep had got stuck in mud and the dog was actually dragging it out. It was actually saving it, was doing its job. And that's just, and all it wasn't even, it was just a case of how the picture had been cropped gave a totally different interpretation of what that image is. And I think sometimes people need to remember that not everything that is put out there is truthful.
I don't know why people believe the media at all. It just, if they can lie once, then why wouldn't they lie all the time?
The
like
media,
if they've been proven.
Yeah, the media is entertainment. Really, that's what it is now. It's not news and factual. It's entertainment. It's about likes, agendas. Yeah, and we know from past experiences that the media and the government will lie, and they do lie for their own agenda. So you look at someone like Russell Brand now, and whether you're a fan of him or not, he was a comedian, he was relatively popular, he was a bit of a lad, so to speak, in his day. But everything was okay when he was a bit of a lad. It was funny, it was entertainment. Yeah, but now he's gone very like left-wing, very opinionated, very against anti-system, speaking out very publicly about COVID and conspiracies and how the government cover things up. That's what he's doing now. He's not a comedian anymore. He's not an entertainer anymore. He's speaking like what some people might consider is the truth, but he's speaking what he believes is the truth. And he's exposing things and he's putting stuff out there which the government don't like. So, and we know, everybody knows that from past experiences, if the government don't like something you're putting out, they can discredit you. They have the means and the power, whether it be the media or whatever, to discredit that person. So does it not seem a little bit funny that this person, all of a sudden now he's getting millions of views on YouTube, he's generating income on there, he's speaking out against all the conspiracies to do with, the one he did the other week I saw was where he was speaking out about the pharmaceutical companies to do with the COVID jabs. Oh, yeah. And we all know that the government are involved in all them. So he's doing all this, and now all of a sudden he's public enemy number one. He's been villainised. Yeah. Is it because he's done it, or is it because he's causing people to think for themselves? We know from what's going on in the world, that the government are all out for control. They're trying to take away cash from society. Why do they want to take cash out of society? Because if everything's electronic, they can control you. They're trying to implement a 15-minute city. Why do they want to implement a 15-minute city? Because they can control you. They know where you are. That's the way that we're going. And we've got someone that's speaking out about it, saying this is not the way we should go. We need to have our freedoms.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's been villainized.
I think the problem with the media at the moment that I'm seeing a lot of, and this can be anything, you can look back. One of the biggest things, obviously, we've gone through in the last 2-3 years, we've got COVID. That's centre of everyone's mind. You know, you've got BLM. Personally, got no opinion on it. Not for me to say anything, but you've got BLM. Another one, you've got all the, you know, the LGBTQ rights and stuff like that. Again, no opinion on that. But these are massive things that are being thrown out by the media, not by individuals themselves. What they want to go for, rights, etc. That's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with this podcast. But what I'm trying to highlight is the media themselves will hijack these sort of things going on. And all I can see is they just want to create a divide. And at the moment, definitely in the last 10 years, in my life anyway, all I've seen is left and right. You're either left or you're right. And the problem I've got is, with Russell Brand, you will see, I was listening to a podcast last night, funnily enough, while I was on my way to work, and he was basically having a conversation on his podcast with a woman called Candice Owen, who's from America. And basically she represents an organisation called the Daily Wire. Now they're very heavily right, not in terms of, you know, racism and stuff like that, but basically they're just like, listen, logical thinking is the way forward. You know, this is the way that we see it. This blah blah blah. What they say and all that stuff. It's not for me to say whether they're right or wrong. But Russell Brand, funnily enough, is left. Candice Owen is right. But what Russell Brand does that Candice Owen loves, and they can talk, is Russell Brand will actually, even though he doesn't agree with what you're saying, he'll still have a conversation with you about it. He won't interrupt you. Yeah. You know, he'll let you have your say, and then he'll debate with you. He won't argue with you. He'll debate exactly what he thinks, and he'll use facts. And then that shows to me two adult people that can come together, they've got a difference in views, and they can have a debate about it, and it's a lovely thing to listen to, especially when I was on my way to work. And that's just something that's not seen in the world anymore. It's just, at the moment, it seems to be society's got a massive divide. Yeah. You know, what do you like? Oh, I like football. Oh, I like rugby. Oh, that's a girl's game. Oh, that's a man's game. Oh, well, you're all touching each other. And it's just like, that's not the main focus of society, but that's just a little example of how you know, that's petty. But, you know, there's bigger things going on, like, oh, well, you don't like these people, so you're there, and you don't like these people, so you're there. Or, you know, you don't want to date gay people, so you're homophobic. And it's like, these are little examples about society, about how it's just completely ripped apart at the moment, where everyone's just, they want to argue with each other, and they want to have a divide between each other. And
it is like it's been engineered for there to be divides.
Yeah.
So you're this community, and you stand up for that, and you go against them, and you go against them, and this. And I was listening to, I tried down to it the other day, and I was just listening to the radio as normal. And I've got friends of all races, shapes, religions, everything. Colour's never been an issue. Race, religion, never been an issue for me. I take people at face value. I'm interested in a lot of things, different cultures and this, that and the other. So people are people to me. If I'm friends with someone, I'm friends with that person. I'm interested in them. And I was driving along, and I was into Capital Extra, and they were on about, they were having a lady on who was an author, and she was going to be talking about a book that she'd written about black entrepreneurs. Which is great.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, why does it need to be
Black entrepreneurs.
black entrepreneurs? Why can't it just be entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
Why do you have to bring colour in?
Because there's a divide, isn't there?
Yeah, but they're making a divide.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I was like, would it be okay if I wrote a book about white entrepreneurs? Would that be okay?
Probably not.
But I could write a book about entrepreneurs and include everyone. Mm-hmm. And I don't see why is that. It's like the one of the things that always, I have a very logical brain, so I look at things and I think it's like the Mobos, music of black origin.
Yeah.
So that's predominantly an awards for the music industry that's just about black music. But they don't have something that's just about white music. And I don't see why they have to create a divide. It's just music. Like, I listen to all types of music. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't see why. It's like society is geared right now to create these divides and put these wedges into society to segregate people, rather than. And is it because they don't want everyone to?
I think if everyone was, they'd be.
There's power in numbers, isn't there? And that's what it is. If everyone's united, then we become very, very powerful. Whereas if everyone's divided and arguing between themselves, the government can literally do what the fuck they want because everyone's preoccupied, which is what's happening. Everyone's preoccupied with this little skit over here, this little falling out over here, this person's done this, that. And the government are getting away with anything. Lying, cheating, stealing, money laundering, absolutely everything. Well, none of us no one's paying any attention to it. It's just going on because they just go, oh, we've done this wrong. Oh, but he's done this. This is what you need to focus on now. This guy's done this. Well, that's more interesting. Yeah,
they've definitely done the same thing with, obviously, anyone that watches social media did the same thing with the Tate brothers. And I've just watched one of their podcasts on Rumble, because that's where they seem to do everything now. Rumble, it's an app. It's free to watch. And basically what they were saying last night on the Russell Brand thing, obviously they've got a more, I would like to say, biased view, because basically what they're doing, they're using their first-hand experience, what they've been through, and they're basically saying this is what we're seeing. We're seeing things that are exactly the same on the way that the establishment, or as he calls it, the Matrix, there's an establishment that's clearly gearing towards a certain opinion, and they want this guy dealt with. Now, the main thing that I took away from what he said was when they basically tried to chase him, they asked all the women that had ever been connected to him, how does this guy treat you? What's he like? What's his mannerisms like? What's his behaviour like? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Never treated me wrong, always treated me right, always give me what I need, paid me fairly, all this sort of stuff. And basically, the one thing I took away from what he said is, granted it was a bit far-fetched, but he basically said, if you talk to 100 people about me, or you talk to 100 people about anyone, even Mijor Tate, if you talk to the guy over there that's got a perfect record, everyone looks, you know what I mean? If you talk to 100 people about anyone in this room, anyone that you know in life, somebody somewhere is going to have a bad word to say about that guy, whether it be jealousy, whether it be 10-second interaction and I was in a grumpy mood, or he's miserable.
Something they've heard of
somebody else. Is always going to say something about you. And if you can't accept that in life, you're crazy, right? Now, obviously, the accusations that have been made, the allegations that have been made, granted, that's one step further. But, and this is a big but, okay? Obviously, I'm the guy, I'm the one that's black and white, I'll say it how it is, and I'll take the shit that people give me. But what the fuck ever happened to crazy? I'm being serious. If somebody watching this, somebody in life, whatever, has never interacted with someone that's crazy, you are full of shit, right? We've all got stories about crazy people, male or female, okay? Like I said, we're not here to defend Russell Brand. He's his own guy, he can do it himself. He's got his own money, whatever. The fact is, there's been research done, and 5% of society are classed as psychopaths in whatever way you want to say that. Whether they're absolutely crazy or they've just got a certain mentality that at times they slip off, they go down a slippery slope, and that's not deemed normal behaviour, okay? If you said to 100 people, Josh Keane, what's he like? At least 5 people are going to either, say you're a bellend.
500.
Well, yeah. Sorry, mate, I'm one of them. Yeah, but seriously though, if I ask 100 people about you, at least 5, which is 5%, okay? So you imagine you're asking, the reporters have said they've been looking at this for the last 4 or 5 years. Apparently the first reports were made to the Telegraph from their source, they're saying this, in 2019. What happened in 2019, Paul?
I don't know.
So you don't know about COVID?
Was it 2019?
2019.
Okay. Is that what it was?
COVID-19.
It was September, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
COVID-19. Thank you. Someone switched on. Right. So, 2019, right? Russell Brand started to talk the way he's talking now. Started to open his shows the way he is now. At no point are we still saying that this guy is or isn't innocent. That's not for us to say. But I just find it a coincidence that the moment that this guy not starts speaking out, it's by the by. The moment this guy starts getting traction, momentum in the world, speaking about what he's speaking about. People are saying, wow, you're opening my eyes to things. Wow, I never looked at it like that. People are starting to become awake in the matrix.
People are starting to use their own brains.
Yeah.
Actually.
Instead of just
they're questioning, actually, what you're saying actually does make sense.
And like Andrew Tate said, the first thing they will do, slate me. The second thing they will do, cancel me.
Yeah.
The third thing they will do,
imprison me.
Or worse, kill me. You're gone. The world's looking for a new leader. Do you know what I mean? And this is the scary thing, mate. Yeah. This is the scary thing, that these things are in plain sight. And people are so wound up and so emotional at the moment about the way society's being ran, whether they're left or right, they're not being listened to, they're not getting what they want. They're just branching to anything, anyone that will listen to their opinion. You know, they'll just jump to it. You could literally spell out in black and white, this guy's innocent. Like, he wasn't even there. The picture says he was there, so he was there. It's scary, man.
I think if you can... It just comes back to, like, if the government and the media can lie about COVID or aspects of COVID, like, why would you believe anything? Like, I know I've said it a million times, but, like, fucking hell, come on. And I think, like, I know you've had it, I know you've got something to say about it, but I was scrolling on Facebook, Russell Brand, and kind of just sort of come into my eye line, and a Facebook friend said, I've just watched this documentary about Russell Brand, and God, it's opened my eyes to stuff. And somebody commented straight away, like, well, what do you know? Like, just opposing it, just saying, how do you know that that's genuine? How do you know that that's real? Like, we are not a judge, we are not the jury, we haven't got all the evidence, we haven't spoke to all the women, we don't know any of these women, you weren't there in the room, like, you couldn't possibly have been in the room. So like, who are you to judge him? Like, and as you said, if it turns out that all this evidence comes together and it's fuck all, it's nothing to get a conviction, then he'll still be branded.
Yeah, his reputational. His reputation. His reputation still going to be tainted.
The brand will be branded. Yeah. So it's so detrimental. Like, and
we're supposed to live in a society where you're innocent until proven guilty.
But it's just a witch hunt against it.
It is, yeah.
And as you said, I obviously do care if it's true or not. But, like, I couldn't care less if it is. If he's done what he's done, if he hasn't, he should be punished if he has, and he should be just left alone if he hasn't. But if you look at, like, Jimmy Savile, the fucking BBC knew what he was doing,
and they covered it.
They all knew what he was doing, but because he was getting millions and millions of views, they allowed it to happen, if you will.
They turned a blind eye, didn't they?
And then as soon as he died, that's when it all came out. But there was people when he was alive that were fighting for the justice. Yeah. But as soon as he died, because he was gone, that's when they actually came after him then. But if they could do it then what's to say that... I'm not saying he's done anything, but if Brand has done X, Y, and Z, then what's to say that because he was following an agenda then, that he wasn't being covered for? And what's to say that because he's going against the agenda now, he's not being covered for? So do you know what I mean? It could be. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying, like, it just seems coincidental.
It's another like theory, and that's what we're just talking about theories. If he's making people question the system, he's becoming powerful. That's what's happening.
Is him, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be a bit weird. I don't know what they'll have on it. But Katie Hopkins, she's got a very
that's the problem. So Katie Hopkins, they've already tried it. With her, and she's now been left alone because she's defeated it. Now the problem with Russell Brand is now two things will happen. He will either get charged and then potentially go to jail or whatever. Which, if he has done these crimes, if they do become proper allegations and do get reported, and he does get found to be what they're accusing him of, then good, rot in a jail for me. But if it does come out innocent, what's he going to get? A public apology?
Yeah, it won't happen. It's just pushed on the cop.
But again, if the government's involved, what's to say that they wouldn't be able to get a conviction either way?
And I'm sorry, and the biggest thing for me, can we all just open our eyes to? This guy has been accused of rape. Rape. Can we actually find the definition of rape? Because I'm under the understanding, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, this is what's being used. He has been accused of rape by at least one person out of the 4, right? The rest, sexual assault, grooming, all this sort of stuff, whatever you want to brand him, but rape itself, I'm under the influence, is penetration.
I believe
Now,
so.
at no point reading these accusations have I read anywhere these people being quoted that he has had sexual intercourse with me and penetrated me. I read one about somebody in Las Vegas being pushed up against a wall and potentially, so to me that's defined as sexual assault, it's not rape. I'm not justifying this guy's actions if it is true, and I use the word strongly, if. Okay, but the fact is, he needs to be given his day in court. And the people that are spouting up, like this MP, personally, this MP needs to stay in her lane, because all she's quite frankly doing is she's trying to attack this man. And quite frankly, it is because she's female, because no men have jumped on board. The thing
is with Russell Brand, when at the probably height of his fame, he made no... he didn't hide the fact
he was trying to sex addict.
He didn't hide the fact that he liked ladies. He didn't hide the fact he was a bit of a player. And it was funny. It was part of.
Have you not seen Game to the Greek, the film?
Yeah, exactly.
He's a fucking addict in that.
Have you seen the behind the scenes of that? They're trying to use the behind the scenes of that, bearing in mind he's just come off air, he's just come off set, just come off filming, and they're trying to use the words that he's still using with the actor
when he's still in character.
They're trying to use that against him, mate. Now I've got one here that it's all over the media. We've all seen it. Ms. Your Take, you can confirm we've seen this, haven't we?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right, so the Daily Mail uses Catherine McPhee. Okay, so Catherine McPhee was on a talk show with Russell Brand. Bear in mind, Russell Brand was at his height. Was at his height, right? Now, basically, what it says here, this is all over Twitter, okay? So, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, credible source or not. So, this is this person replying to the Daily Mail. Now, the Daily Mail basically say, on the video that was shared, which is Catherine McPhee, is basically sitting on Russell Brand's, area, knee, whatever, lap.
Sat on his lap.
Yeah. Now, they're using that and basically saying, how uncomfortable does she look? And they go to the link in bio for the full video. Nothing more is said. She then replies, Daily Mail, I know nothing what you are trying to claim here, but the specific incident was over 10 years ago and it was harmless. Please don't try and use me for whatever purpose you were trying to serve. Now, that's not her completely sticking up for him and saying, I love him, he's the best guy in the world.
You're putting it out of context.
She's just calling the bullshit as she sees it. And don't use me and this footage to vilify this man. Now, like we say again, if he is guilty at any point, throw the book at him, quite frankly, but give him his day in court. It's that simple.
The other thing is, that's a prime example. So the tabloids will put a headline, an eye-catching headline, which people will read, click here for full story.
Clickbait,
no one clicks the full story.
What's
they
the
just
word?
quote
They just omittive.
Yeah. They'll
So
just
they don't
quote
actually have
highlight.
to be factual.
No.
They're not. In the world that they're governed, as long as they don't directly...
As long as it's not slanderous.
As long as it's not slanderous.
Yep.
They leave it open to
Or liable,
interpretation.
yep.
It's clever because the droves lap it up, and it's scary.
Yeah.
It really is scary. That, another one that I seen on live TV the other day, and I made it quite expressive on my personal social media. Now, I did get some backlash from it, but that's by the by. That's just part of having these opinions. But long story short, Lorraine Kelly was on her show, and I watched it live. It was on her show, and she got asked about the story of where she was on a talk show with Russell Brand. Like I say, it was at his boisterous time. He was too transparent in my eyes. If something happened that night, we'd tell you about it, no problem. He didn't hide anything. He was a boy.
It was part of his,
He's also a fucking comedian.
Yeah, it was part of his persona,
Exactly.
his character at the time, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Yeah. So he basically turned around and said, I think he touched her in whatever way on a leg or something like that. And he basically went, Lorraine Kelly's got suspenders on. And then he just went completely off subject. Okay, and everyone was laughing. Even Lorraine Kelly, I was watching the footage as she was playing it. She looked fine. She looked with it. I'd imagine if she's, you know, this sort of personality, as soon as they got off stage, I wasn't happy with that. At no point did that get said. She then got questioned by two people, which quite frankly looked like as left-wing as you can be, on her own show, and basically went, how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel 10 years ago? How the fuck would I know? Well, what I'll do, I'll watch the footage and I'll make my own mind up now. And she turned around and said, well, yeah, looking back, I didn't feel comfortable in that situation.
How do you know what you felt?
How do you know? What you're doing is protecting yourself, because the umbrella that you're under, quite frankly, right now, which is, you know, Channel 3, Channel 4, you know, they're looking at you and they're going, if you don't conform to this, what shit have they got on you?
I tell you what, with a great example of that, and like a lot of people won't know it, so I'll use that one as an example, something a bit more modern, and Carry On films.
Yeah.
You ever watched the Carry On film?
Perfect example. I watched one of them the other day.
What's the Carry On camping where Babs is doing this and then her bra goes flying off? Do you think they would have gone back to her 20 years later and go,
what was his name? Henry, the guy that's actually all on it. He's always making sexual jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Henry,
I can't remember.
Something.
He's got like a proper like dirty old man's laugh.
And I watched the Carry On Henry.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone was to pick that apart, Jesus, man, that guy that's been dead,
do you think
20 years?
they've gone back to and go, oh, well,
yeah.
Sid James, one of the other guys, Sid James.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone's ever gone back to the people that he acted with and gone, well, he was quite sexually suggestive then? How did that make you feel 35 years ago?
Hilarious.
What's the other one?
Hilarious.
There's another one I watched, like The In-Betweeners.
Yeah.
They're saying now The In-Betweeners would not get made in today's society because it's too offensive. It's fucking hilarious.
It's scary. The world.
Like, I've watched The In-Betweeners.
Like Little Britain.
Numerous. Little Britain. Yeah.
Another one, yeah.
The Fast Show. Do you ever used to watch Fast Show?
No. Have you ever seen League of Gentlemen?
Yeah, League of Gentlemen.
Fucking hell.
But people will laugh now. But you look back on that sort of stuff and it's some of the perfect example. Best sketch show of all time. The Chappelle Show. The Chappelle Show is the best sketch show by far. Some of the stuff that he does now, you just wouldn't be able to say that sort of stuff. How could a guy be black and speaking about the KKK like he's the supreme leader of the KKK?
I watched his most recent...
You laugh, but back then, mate, that was hilarious. Yeah. He himself says, like, it's, you know, it pushes the boundaries like never before. But everyone will laugh about that. But then the moment that somebody's vilified, he's a piece of shit. He's
on his latest, one of his latest stand-ups, he does a skit about... Obviously, he's had a very, very long career.
Yeah.
And he does a little joke about he was at the supermarket and some woman was absolutely giving him evils.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know this woman.
Yeah.
And she ended up coming over and confronted him about something from one of his stand-up shows 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The Chappelle?
Yeah.
Mate, crazy.
And she took it to heart. How can you say that? And he was like, it was 15 years ago. He's like, he's like, I'm a comedian, that's my job. And at the time,
Current events,
that was
innit?
funny.
Yeah.
He says, it might not be funny now. I said, but I'm not a time traveller. That was funny at the time. It's not funny now because the society has changed and opinions have changed. But I'm not going to apologise for something I said 15 years ago that was
Cleaning
hilarious.
adverts used to have fucking women in them back in the day. Fairy advert was a woman in a kitchen. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been out of place to have had a handcuff on her.
Yeah.
But like
baking adverts.
But yeah, it was
with
always
women
women
baking.
It was never men. So it culturally appropriate, time sensitive shit. That fuck off.
Yeah. It just seems that there's that much out there, as and when you decide to have a little bit of a fit on you, and you know everyone needs to listen to me and whoa my gender and all that sort of stuff. It just seems there's enough out there to have an argument about almost anything, and it's like no, it's in the past. It was funny then. For some people, it's still funny now. If your humour's changed, well, there you go. It's not being pushed. It's archived. It's still there.
Yeah.
But it's not being pushed. It's not like it's shown every single day, you know. So I just don't see the problem, and I think people need to grow up. I think frankly,
certain things need to have like a statute of limitations placed on them, because it's like someone coming up to you now and saying, "Oh, you stole my lunch money when we were at primary school. You're a fucking twat, you are." I was a kid.
Yeah. My brain's grown. I've matured. Yeah. You know, this guy Russell Brand's going on about sitting in his garden. doing origami and doing yoga. Was he doing that? Well, the only thing he was doing yoga for 20 years ago was clearly what he was spouting on about. So, do you know what I mean? The guy was on drugs, the guy was doing this, the guy was doing that. The guy was literally the ultimate lad.
Yeah.
He was the ultimate lad. Do you know what I mean? And now you look at him, the way that they're trying to vilify him, like I say, I'll say it 100 times on this. If he is guilty, throw the book at him. Mm-hmm. But quite frankly, I've not seen anything yet that suggests that otherwise, not to give him his day in court. Let them.
He's not even been charged.
No,
exactly. It's literally just allegations and accusations.
And you think if there was that much going on,
he would have been charged.
He would have been arrested by now.
He would have been arrested and charged
because he would have had enough. Because if you've got all this, if you've got all this evidence, all this information,
come forward.
Surely that's enough to get Clearly, they haven't got enough evidence.
Someone goes to the police station tomorrow morning and says, I've seen Josh Keane shoplifting, you get arrested and charged. There's one person needs to go in and say that, then they'll investigate you, you'll be charged with it. Then they'll look for CCTV and evidence, but he's not even been charged.
Exactly.
Don't go in the shops.
The main things that I've looked at the interviews at the moment that are happening that I fully agree with is Piers Morgan. It's Piers Morgan at the moment, and it kills me to say that, but Piers Morgan at the moment is having a lot of people on and discussing this Russell Brand thing, and he's giving people that are siding with the alleged victims, he's giving people that are siding with Russell Brand, and he's giving people the opinion that letting them have their say that have got a logical way of looking at it. And his basic way of looking at it is, yes, I agree. Like we've just said, if he is what people are claiming, then throw the book at him. He's a piece of shit. Hopefully he rots in jail. But if it is that he's completely innocent and this is all just made up and it's remains what it is and that's allegations, then we're living in a scary time where people are allowed to put out footage or make claims against someone, and before this guy's even had a chance to address it, he's literally put out one post and said, listen, I'm being vilified, I strenuously reject all these allegations, and I'll leave it there. And, obviously he's going to let his lawyers and all that sort of stuff deal with it and get all the evidence together and blah, 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 see where it goes. But if he's not even being given that, we're living in scary times, and unfortunately it's taking somebody like Piers Morgan, of all people, the Daily Mirror scam, all that sort of stuff. It's taken the guy when he did that, I still want to punch him in the face, with that Iraqi stuff that he did on the troops, remember that? Piece of shit. I'll pull it up anyway, Tate will bring it up. But so if it's taking somebody like him to be the voice of reason, that shows what a shit state society we're in, where it's just governed by media court, and it's just not right for me.
I just think if your only source of news information is from these mainstream news channels, do a bit of research, because there'll be a lot of people that maybe watch this and be like, fucking idiots, don't know what they're on about. But if you just get it from one person, if you told me something important and I was like, is that right? And I went and spoke to Bryn and he verified it, then maybe I might see, and I spoke to Tate and then it was a bit more, it's fair enough, okay, then it's all right. But you've just got fucking all these news sources and all this bullshit, it's do some outside research.
I think to take away from it, we're supposed to live in a civilized society. We have a legal system and a judicial system for a reason. We're supposed to live in a society where you are innocent until proven guilty, regardless of the allegations and accusations that are made to you. And I think people really need to take their blinkers off a little bit. Just because you read it on Facebook or Instagram or whatever does not necessarily mean it's true. Doesn't mean that it's wrong to read it and digest that information, and it's not wrong to have an opinion on it. You're allowed to have an opinion, but take time to get all the facts.
Like the online fact checkers for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what happened with COVID, wasn't it? You wrote something to do with COVID and all social media platforms were taking it down. We fact checked this. Where's that now? Where's the fact check going on now for all these stories? Where the social media platforms saying, well, you can't say that about this, what's going on.
Well, it comes with that warning, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't now.
Well, that's just come out
Is it not anymore?
In American, is it the American Senate? Or something like that. It came out where they were basically discussing with people that worked for Twitter before Elon Musk took it over. Are you qualified? Are you a medical expert? This and that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no. Well, why are you challenging what medical experts are saying on Twitter? They're giving advice out. Yeah. They're telling people, stop eating shit, get out, exercise, vitamin D3, not vitamin D, because vitamin D is vitamin D2, it's cheaper. Vitamin D3 helps your immune system, okay? The rest, get it from the sun, have a balanced, healthy diet, and guess what? You will survive COVID, okay? Who was pushing that? No one.
No,
because everything that was put out about that was getting fucked off. And the thing is,
Agendas.
if you're getting told in the Senate, in Congress, wherever it was definitely being done in a massive platform. Anyone can look at this online. They were getting questioned. What gives you the right to tell these medical experts that they're wrong or deleting their stuff? Well, we were told by the US government, this was confirmed, mate, on live TV. We were told by the US government to take that down. Right, but who are they to argue with medical experts? These are people, if you've got something wrong with your body, I need your information. I need your expertise.
You don't go to your local politician.
Like if your GP tells you something, 9 times out of 10, you'll listen to him. But these are people that were putting this information on Twitter, or X as it's known as now. They're wrong. We're taking it down. No. Well, why? You're not qualified to tell them they're wrong. No. We were getting told by the US government to take it down. So like I say, we're not sitting here and saying, we're all conspiracy theorists. They're not conspiracies, mate. They're fact.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's all out there. So it's scary times, guys.
I think more logically is the moral to take away from today's podcast.
Don't believe everything you fucking see or read. Like, don't just I'm not saying the news are always wrong, but just don't fucking believe everything they say.
It's not always right either. It's not always
right.
true. It's there.
Twisted.
The news is a media platform now.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Rupert Murdoch owns most of the news channels. What is he known as? A media mogul.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's media. That's all it is. They're putting it out there to get your attention. It's not always true. So think before you act. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
This is true. This is true. And I'm just trying to be edgy, guys. But understand, the great Denzel Washington once said, if you don't watch or read the news, then you're ill-informed. If you read it or watch it, then you're misinformed. If a guy like that, with the fucking accolades that guy's got, and he is slightly left, for me, I'm happy. Don't believe anything that you see in the news. Do your own research.
Exactly.
Case closed.
Bye. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.